All right, welcome to the first ever episode of Movies in the Mancave. I'm Cody.
I'm Jared.
Considering this is our first episode, I thought maybe we'd start by giving you a little bit of background of who we are and what we're trying to do with this show.
Me, myself, I just love movies. I have a passion for them, if you will. Don't really make them, but I watch them. I grew up watching movies like Top Gun and things like that, things that 6-year-old probably shouldn't be watching. I guess I also watched Beauty and the Beast and things like that. But I just love every kind of movie, dating way back to whenever and up until now. Things like Breakfast Club and, everything. You?
Same. I grew up watching movies all the time. Probably movies I shouldn't have been watching. I was watching Terminator 2 way before I should be seeing somebody cut their arm off. But, that's just how we were raised. And now, every chance I get, I spend almost all my free time in pawn shops looking for used movies. A popular movie that everybody likes or something offbeat that I've never heard of. I like to give those a try too. So usually when I'm watching movies, I got my home theater set up and put one in, turn on the surround sound, and that's a good evening in my opinion. That's what I like to do. So I think with this show, what we're going to try to do is review some movies maybe people haven't seen before, something a little offbeat. I think a lot of times we'll include lists of our favorite type of movie in a certain genre, our favorite horror movies or something along the line. Everybody loves a list, so I think that's a good way to go. Yep. And, I think we're going to shoot to do these maybe one a week, and we hope you tune in and enjoy them. Let us know what you think.
That's right.
So, Jared, what's our first movie that we're reviewing?
First movie for Movies in the Man Cave is 2007's Sunshine. It's directed by Danny Boyle, stars Cillian Murphy.
Cillian, not Cillian. We got that wrong before.
Cillian would just be silly. And anyway, it also stars the Human Torch, whose name escapes me right now.
Chris Evans. If you've seen Fantastic Four, he was the Human Torch. He also plays Captain America in the upcoming movie.
And also my favorite actor, Benedict Wong, is in this movie. Cody, you have the rundown.
I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about this movie, and it seems you're either on one side of the spectrum, love it or hate it. I most definitely fall on the love it side of this movie. I absolutely enjoyed it, beginning to end. It starts off as a sci-fi movie, very typical plot, nothing you've never heard before. They have to go blow a bomb up in the sun to restart the sun because it's starting to die. Not the newest concept in the world. No, it's something we've seen before. But the way that it's handled, I think, they do it perfectly. It kept me on the edge of my seat throughout the movie. Every time they have to make a decision, you're thinking, boy, do I think they should do this or should they do this? And you see the consequences of what happens when they make these decisions. And it seems like there's always something major going on that you're like, well, I don't know if I would do that. And you get to follow along like that. About 2/3 of the way through the movie, it almost switches genres from a sci-fi to almost a horror slasher flick at one point.
Thriller.
Yeah. And I think it does it pretty well. It's pretty seamless. My wife even enjoyed that, and she doesn't usually like horror movies. So that's a pretty positive review if it's a horror part that my wife can enjoy.
Yeah, it gets when it takes that slasher flick, it gets a shaky cam thing that gets kind of. Yeah, but
not my favorite part of that. I like that they went to the horror, but everything ends up being a little bit blurry, a little bit washed out at the end. And I think they tried to go for an effect with that didn't really work out.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to go for a like staring into the sun effect. Like it's just so blinded by it. And yeah, that would probably be the one downside with visually, I guess.
Yeah, but other than that, I thought the first 2/3 are very well shot. Visually stunning, and I think Jared will talk a little bit more about that here in a bit, but just all around great movie, great characters. I liked them. There seemed to be a little bit of like teen angst going on the ship, which you wouldn't expect until you think that these guys have been on the same ship together for a year and a half. There's bound to have conflict arising, and it helps move the story along a little bit so we can find out who these guys are. So I thought that was done really well. Just great. Your thoughts?
Like you were getting at with the teen angst thing, I was thinking about it just the other day about, what would you do if you're out on this ship for years, our mission is to sail towards the sun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool. You get to save humanity, but boring. Come on. So, that's kind of where the storyline, it reminded me of The Core.
I thought the same thing when I just rewatched it the other day, and
But-
it was very similar.
But the thing with Sunshine is that it was good.
Yep, it took everything the core did and did it better.
Yeah, and what's weird is that I guess I haven't looked at the numbers. I'm assuming the core had a way bigger budget, and Sunshine managed to take a small budget, and relatively, and they're not A-list actors. It's
Yeah.
not a Brad Pitt or anybody like that.
You
And-
recognize
and-
some of them, but you couldn't
right?
couldn't guess that their name was Killian.
And it took the B-list actors, let's say, and it made a better movie than what a big blockbuster would have done. And yeah, I just thought they did it really well, and it's also one of my favorite movies. Getting back to like the visuals of it,
The best part.
yeah, and the movie starts out, and like there's a dialogue at the beginning where it says oh, we're on the Icarus II, and that they're on a ship, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Well, if you go from like a Star Wars mindset, the Millennium Falcons, it's big, but it's not too big. Well, this ship is huge.
Enough about the
showing how
ship.
big.
How did the sun look? The movie's about the sun. What'd
The
you think of
sun-
the sun?
The sun is a big ball of flame, and in this movie they did a big ball of flame really well. It wasn't your typical, you get the sun glares and J.J. Abrams Star Trek, whoosh whoosh sun glare here and there. You look at the sun and it's just like, holy crap, that's a lot of fire, and I don't want to go anywhere near it. And these guys are flying right towards it.
And they didn't cop out and just make it a giant white ball that
No,
looks like a
it's-
spotlight shining in your face.
It is just a a giant ball of flame, and you can see like this, what do you call them, the flare ups, and I mean it's just an awesome job. There's parts in the movie where there's an observation deck and the people are checking it out, and all that I guess all that they can see because they're flying towards the sun is the sun, and it's just done really well. I guess I never thought about how bright the sun is, and there's parts in the movie where they adjust the filter on the thing,
like a
it
tinted
just-
window.
yeah, and just, I mean, it's just awesome the way that the effects were done. It's got the, the darkness of space and obviously the brightness of the sun. I thought it like jumps back and forth a lot really well with, oh, it's a really dark scene and then poof, the sun is right in your face and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, just visually stunning, I would say.
And like you said, on a smaller budget than what you'd see for a picture like
Right.
this. It's not your Armageddon Independence Day budget. They did this on a much lower budget and were able to carry these effects across much more effectively than some of those major motion pictures. So very well done by them. We want to give them credit.
And it's one of those movies where, it starts out black with the dialogue, like I was saying, and for whatever reason, like right then and there, you're just like, tell me more. Like you want to be in the movie.
So push come to shove, somebody's in the movie store and they see this on the shelf, you would recommend it?
If they were walking by the S's, I would have to grab it and play the idiot. Oh, sunshine! Look at that! And I'd definitely make them. I'd force them to the desk and make them rent it.
I would advise everybody go check this movie out. Again, it's one I don't think too many people have heard of. I don't think too many people have seen it before,
No.
which is really a shame because it's very well done and I'd like more people to get to know it.
And I mean, obviously, if you don't like sci-fi movies, you're not gonna like this movie. It's a
I
sci-fi
wouldn't say
movie
that.
through and through.
My
though.
wife doesn't really like sci-fi movies and she really enjoyed it. So I'm not going to say if you don't like sci-fis, don't go see it. I would recommend it for anyone who loves movies and let them make their own decision. That's what I'm going to
Good
say.
call.
So
Cody says that. That's
anything else on Sunshine?
right. I don't believe so. You?
Okay, I think that's it. That's our review for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Go check it out. We're going to leave you with a little game, I guess you could call it. We'll tell you a movie quote, and if you can figure out what movie it is, go ahead, write it down in the comments. And if there are anybody who guesses it right, we'll try to give you a shout out on a next week's show, and we'll tell you the answer to everyone else. So what is our quote for this week, Jared?
This week's quote is, "It will be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine."
It's our first week, so we're giving you a softball. So make sure you get your answers down in the comments. Anything else you liked about the show, didn't like about the show, feel free to put it in the comments. We're anxious to hear what you think. We want to take this in a direction that everybody can enjoy. So let us hear from you. Anything else?
Nothing else.
We'll see you next week.